I'm live, but I'm not John Crump. So welcome. And with that austere introduction of myself, I'm going to bring on Dark
Yo,
and our guest of the day, Risky Chrisky.
risque.
And, and
Hello.
everybody's chugging Topo Chico except me.
Topo Chico.
I did have some seltzer. I
Hello.
don't know if that's a New York thing.
No, Topo Chico is a dark and risky thing. I'm just saying.
Or a Nova thing. That's a Nova thing.
He's not Nova.
It's not Nova.
No, it's actually a Texas thing, believe it or not. Texas and Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen those down here, but whatever. So, Mr. Chrisky, last time you were on the show, you were anonymized.
Oh yeah.
And,
Isn't that fun how that works out?
Yeah, and you were copying what was it? What's his name?
Administrative results.
Administrative results. You're just copycatting him.
Come on.
You know, when in Rome, you do as the Romans do, right? No,
Well,
it feels good to be out of the mask, though.
oh, I bet.
A little freaking.
Dude, I gotta say, I love your. Uh-oh, he's gone.
Lost
Oh
him
well,
for a
no show,
second.
guys. Tough luck.
It may be. I think that. Hey, Putin, good to see you.
Oh my
Sometimes
gosh, Dark, that's a cool shirt. Where'd you get that?
if you're running from your phone, if something like a call comes in or something,
Oh
it'll pull you off.
Yeah.
Yes. So actually, today, hold on. I got my Gideon Optics shirt in today.
Did I mention we're sponsored by Gideon Optics?
I heard about that. I heard that you guys were sponsored by Gideon Optics.
What's in this box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Uh-oh.
Now, did you know?
Oh,
There he is.
it's a slide with a Gideon Optic.
Nice.
I'll just click add to stream.
There
We're
we go.
just getting over our Gideon Optics plug. Ooh, Gideon Optics.
I was
Oh,
so
yeah.
offended by you saying I was copying admin. I just bounced.
Yeah.
Is
I
that it?
figured.
That
I was
just
like,
pissed
man,
you off so much?
Rich messed up big time when he said that.
No, I used
No.
my phone and somebody called me and I hit deny and it just, bumped me out.
Yeah. I said the same damn thing.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, all right. A couple of things. I know last show you said it looked like somebody was about to dox you, so you're just going to beat them to the punch and get rid of the mask.
Yeah. That's an always fun adventure. That happened recently too, but with
What
all my
happened?
personal info.
What happened?
Oh,
with
no
that?
way.
Yeah, it's just online trolls, to be honest.
I don't. Do I have like troll repellent? I'm so unhappy. Like even Joe, Shooting Gallery New England, tells me he's got trolls and they're threatening to dox him and stuff. I'm like, nobody's done that to me. I guess I'm just so intimidating looking that.
Well,
A lot of it's just misunderstanding. They think I say something or like a rumor starts and then it's like and I don't understand for what reason. I'm like, what are we in kindergarten? Just it's outrageous. But nonetheless, I dealt with it head on, avoided that, and the most recent one, it was over a misunderstanding, so kind of went straight to the source.
Yeah, I think it depends on the makeup of your community as to how much of that you get going on. So yeah, makes sense.
Dude, I
So
feel
did
you.
you
I've been
see
there.
that blue things don't get ignited by beam weapons?
What's that?
Did you see that blue objects don't burn on fire from beam weapons?
So it's funny you say that. This is the first time hearing. That was an interesting question. That kind of threw me off. I saw a thing online. It was like all the elites in Maui paint their roofs blue. So I'm assuming you mean something. You're talking about that. That would be hilarious. Wouldn't it be? Wouldn't that be? Can I cuss on here? What am I allowed to say or
I
not?
don't care.
Yeah.
Are we how many minutes in? Oh, I don't make any money on this shit anyhow. So go fuck it. I mean, go for it. Yeah.
There we go. So what the fuck are the odds that there is something to that, And it's like, it doesn't refract off heat or whatever, like off blue. It's like, or I know that didn't make any sense, but it's like that's
If their roofs are blue, right? Could it be that if there was some type? Now this is straight up tinfoil hat, all right?
Total tinfoil hat.
If there was some sort of attack, maybe.
Wait, can I just stop right here? Disclaimers: none of us believe any of this. This is just fantasy and fun shit we're talking about.
Yeah, this is just entertainment and interesting.
It's probably an HOA thing. off the top of my head. That's what I think. If it's not that, it's probably like the most
you mean
elite,
under
most
the
expensive
defense of particle beam weapons
you know what I'm
section on your
if
HOA?
that's how, in the order of events, I'm looking at that. Do they have an HOA? Are they all in the same neighborhood? If not, do they have, is it like the most luxe thing to have a blue roof? Like maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not a millionaire.
Yeah.
So if that's not it, and
Whoa,
somebody has an
pump the
article
brakes.
and
You're not a
they just pull
millionaire?
it out. Yeah.
You're not a millionaire?
You can't.
Right.
You couldn't tell by my Steinmart shirt.
So,
well,
If
so
somebody
so
shares an article and it says that it doesn't hit blue roofs, I'm gonna be like, that's pretty odd. I'm gonna point that out.
let's just throw this on the table, right? Like if have you guys ever seen like topographical maps and things like that? The way that you identify homes is like, oh, that's a roof, right? If all of these, so we're talking Lady Gaga, Julia Roberts, Will Smith, like some of the most not only most popular Oprah and most wealthy people in the world, right? But also people that are extremely left leaning that have been on like the right team as far as what's popular in the world, and all of their roofs are blue. Could it be said that maybe if someone, the government, was using a direct energy weapon, they'd be like, oh, stay away from these areas where these roofs are blue? I'm just saying.
So I pointed out in a report, and I made an offhand joke that it was as soon as it came out, I made an offhand joke that it was a direct energy weapon.
Yeah.
Before looking into it, I think that direct energy weapons probably were used in Canada. If I were to guess, this one in Mount, I don't know. I have no idea. What I'm pointing out that's inconsistent is that Elite's houses didn't burn, but I haven't looked at the map. I'm not on the ground seeing the literal fire lines. I don't know. So that's an interesting point to make. Another point to make is all the land grabs going on. Who's going for the land? Another interesting point to make is the police chief who was the incident commander in the Las Vegas shooting. What are the odds? That's all I'm saying. What are the odds?
Yeah.
So for those, all right, we kind of like we're fist deep into this right now, and unfortunately, I didn't give a proper introduction. So Risky Chrisky is a YouTuber. He does a daily short, the Risky Report. Love it. Of course, I'm sure you do this intentionally. I've got to watch it 3 times to get everything, and I'm like stopping and pausing and stuff like that. I'm like great takes, great hot takes on news items, and it's just boom, 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 real quick.
And you research it. You're clearly doing actual research, even if it's just Twitter shit posting. You're putting very good information in there. I watch it every single day.
Thank you. It's like a twofold deal. It keeps the algorithm pumping, right? And then it's also, I have to take in a lot of that information and I was doing this before I even started a YouTube channel. I had a Telegram current events channel, and it was just, I wasn't necessarily going out and researching. I was compiling news stories from sources that I've researched. Those sources were legit. That's the only thing I did. So I wouldn't necessarily give you a narrative. I would just, things that were interesting to me, I would keep up on. And when the algorithm sort of changed a little bit ago with YouTube, how the shorts kind of, that was more important. At first, I was like, I'm already doing this anyway, providing these. So I'll just take a screen grab and then talk about it. And then now it's kind of wild. Like, I'm ready for school to start for my kids because it is so difficult to spend the whole morning researching that and writing a script and everything before lunch.
Dude, I can't wait.
So how long does it take you to put that together?
The process of if I have all the stories ready to go, picking the order, writing the script, doing everything, it probably takes me an hour. Once I identify the stories I need. And hopefully I have like 50% of those ready when I wake up in the morning from the previous evening. But some days, like today, it was pretty slow. But the overarching message for today is they're going to indict Trump, or they're going to arrest him on Thursday. And then what was the other one? The COVID lockdowns and mandates are coming, the mask mandates.
Yeah.
That's the overarching theme. So that's the whole point of it. I don't have to give you all the details, but like, what did I learn? What's in my head from yesterday? That stuff. So if I can pass that along to somebody else, hopefully I'm helping out somehow.
Yeah.
So part of me, I don't know which direction we're going to go with the show today, but part of me wants to dissect like every story in one of your reports, and then part of me wants to just shit talk about stuff. But here's the interesting thing: we know at least one person actively working on the Trump campaign insider, and there is no Biden campaign team. Doesn't exist. And I'm like, so that's
It's
it's
literally Karine Jean-Pierre. She tweeted accidentally for Biden from her own
on
account.
her account.
She's it's her, because it's only people that they can literally trust with everything. So it's the upper echelons that are handling him because he perceives them as like, oh, he can trust them and talk to them. He's probably like half brain dead, whoever he is.
Half.
Right?
Yeah. Whoever they are.
Half. You're being quite generous.
This is when them works, because there's multiple versions.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
They literally,
I mean,
I think they had to add and make it look like one of his lobes was detached and not, because they screwed it up so many times along the way. Now that's just the thing. One of them is and isn't.
Well, apparently, I forgot who it was, but there were some people saying like, no, like I've had like my face, what's it called when
Facelift.
Facelift, and my earlobes changed, and I was like, oh shit, well that kills that theory. But honestly, I think the whole thing about like it was Rosie O'Donnell that had said that. And she's actually relatively based. She's very, very caught up in the Trump's the only one that can save us shit. And
So I disagree with Crumpy on something. Crumpy wants Ron DeSantis. I want Trump because he's obviously what they're most afraid of.
Well, hang on. Before we go into that conversation really quickly, I just want to say you brought up an interesting point that there is no campaign director, and nothing.
So there's two things that could mean, and correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that it's because the election already occurred.
Three things it means that. Either he's not running, they know they have it in the bag, or they're going to have COVID 14.0, lockdowns, masks, and all that bit, and they're going to do the mail-in vote thing again and win that way.
Or there's not going to be an election at all. There's only 4 possibilities. I've wargamed this so many times. I talk about it on my channel all the time.
I don't want to.
There's only 4 options.
Yeah.
They don't let us vote. They don't let our guy run. They cheat out in the open, or they don't have one at all.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a country where they didn't have an election recently. Is there a country? Anybody think of one?
Isn't there one we're pumping money to as well?
You know, that's an interesting thing. Didn't they install a president that was previously an
actor? That was an actor?
That's a QAnon conspiracy, right?
Oh my goodness. That's right. Call me the shaman. And you know, it's
you need to dress like a shaman. You need to come out here with the shaman outfit on one of these.
Yes.
3D print it.
But
3D
print a shaman.
3D print.
What was I think? Oh, and there was also another place, I can't recall the country, but prior to not giving the people the right to vote, that they were, insured by their natural rights, but also they took all of their firearms before the election. Now they're in the streets eating rats and things like that. Something Zuela, I don't remember. Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, interesting.
It'll be different this time, though, right? That's what they say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just like communism. Next time they try it, it'll work.
Yeah. You'll own nothing and be happy.
That's why I have I've been wrong consistently about one topic, and it's the time frames. Dates.
Oh, everybody is, yeah. That's tough.
And that's one thing. So I'm not ashamed to admit it. I feel like this is empowering. That's like the only thing we've blatantly screwed up. Or myself, I'll speak for myself. So knowing that, I avoid time frames, I avoid dates now, but everything else we're looking at like it is unfolding. So my thought process is in my internal clock, based on those 4 outcomes that I think are possible, something big has to happen. And I'm for disclaimers, I'm not telling you to do anything. This is what I perceive as the options as to what could happen.
Yeah, actually roll that beautiful bean footage. This is us telling you not to do anything. Just saying.
Right. I think something big, catastrophic, or obvious has to happen before the next presidential inauguration.
Yes.
Because if that's where these questions kind of line up to a cumulative event, it would be that precedent. Is the power going to be transitioned peacefully? It hasn't done it in the past that I've seen.
Shout out to BV Luminous who said, "Oh, Venezuela. Ooh,
Oh, we got BV in the chat. He's a spicy one. Hope you're doing
he's
good, bud.
quite spicy." And
I wonder
committed.
if he drinks Topo Chicos, BV.
I think he has made fun of me in the past for drinking the bubbly water. But we'll
I could see.
we'll see.
Yeah, he would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I believe that. And I think all of us have kind of felt it. Yet at the same time, I think, again, just speaking from my gut feeling and experience from looking at everything, trying to make the best analysis that I can, and then kind of just piecing it together. Um, I think that I believe what's the best way to say it? I think we're on the like right at the line, like we're literally on the threshold of something happening. And at the same time, I believe that we'll call it the opposing side is banking on us to do something. And when we keep not doing something, they have to pivot, and that changes things. So they're banking on people that think like us, that are, believers of freedom
Oh,
and
totally.
independence and liberty. And when
There's
we don't act to their provocation, then they got to pivot.
It's almost like, so a lot of guys will ask in the comments, and this is when I like scream fed. They're like, what are you going to do? When are we going to do something? And it's like,
Ooh.
look back at the historic things that have gone on. It's almost like some guys who are really smart thought about this, and it went something like after a long train of abuses, right?
Mhm,
So like
mhm.
we have to endure. Why? Because we're not the bad guys. We're not doing anything wrong. By
Yeah.
us standing there and turning the other cheek and taking the punch, they will be forced to escalate until everyone will see it undeniably for what it is. Because
Yeah.
by ourselves and as a small community we can't, nor is it our job to do that. It will come a time when it is our job. And right now, our job is to steadfast and do the right thing and be solid. When other people that do not have the same restraint are lashing out, we need to be the calm and be like, yo, it's going to get worse. You better chill out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Totally agree. I think that's a very valid point. What are your thoughts, Rick?
So
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I agree with that. And I'm like, you always hear they'd be stacking bodies by now, and I'm like, whoa. And Chris Ann Hall, I've had JC, her husband, on the show a couple times. Chris Ann's a constitutional scholar, mad respect for her, and her husband JC. Both are super freaking smart on this stuff. If you look at the timeline to 1776, we're nowhere near when they started stacking bodies. So everybody needs to totally chill on that.
Well,
That's
let's be honest. Most of the people that are saying those types of things, there's a couple thoughts that I don't typically touch on, but one, it's the people that aren't doing anything, right? Like a
mhm,
lot of us put ourselves out there, put our faces out there, a lot
right,
of times
right.
put our names out there,
Mhm,
even if we don't put our names out there, but like we're putting ourselves out there so we can put as much information and feed the good wolf, right? The
mhm, mhm.
freedom, independence, liberty, right? Become more self-sustainable, be ungovernable, right?
Yep.
It's the people that aren't doing things or making an impact that say, we need to fight, we need to fight, we need to fight, drill the third hole. Like, it's not going to do anything, right? What positive
Mhm.
impact is that making? And then also, what I found is that it's people that are like, I can't wait for it to happen. Like, your life
Oh
sucks
shoot.
that much that you want to be living in literal hell. Like, no, I'm not trying to go there. I want to stay as far away from there as possible. As a matter of fact, I pray it doesn't happen. Yet
Right.
if it does, I will be as close to maximum preparedness as possible.
Not
Mhm,
not to mention, I think most of us could agree, this is like fifth dimensional warfare stuff we're
mhm,
entering
mhm.
now and have
Yep.
been for a while. So understanding what fifth dimensional warfare is or generation, excuse me, fifth generational warfare. It's not the same. It's not kinetic. I think it will
Mhm.
go kinetic at some point because they will continue ratcheting down
Yeah.
the tyranny, and they're going to infringe on rights to a point at some point to where people will have had enough, or they'll be unable to feed their children, and their only option will be to do stuff that is against the rules. All right.
Right.
So when we get until we get to that point, we need to use the weapons, for lack of a better term, that we have, and that's telling the truth. and standing up when everyone else is afraid, and they put their mask on and they say, I don't know what to do. I'm scared. We need to stand up and say, hey, remember what happened no more than 2 years ago? Y'all need to wake up. This is not right. Stand up for yourself. You can be the guy. And I know it's a little kind of slice of the pie, if you will, talking about the masks and stuff, but like we have to be the people that have voice and reason among sheep. It's not time for fighting. Because anyone that stands up, even if you're an old 75-year-old, 300-pound, 5'4" man making threats online, they'll make an example out of you. So it's probably best if you just tell the truth and cite your sources. And then what is anyone going to say? He told the truth.
The other thing is like for the people that are like, oh, it's time to fight, I'm sick of doing nothing. Okay, what else have you done, right? Because I would not be able to look my child and shit, my grandchildren potentially, right, in the eyes and be like, daddy did every single thing he possibly could to fight for our rights and your future rights and your kids' future rights. And look, I'm not like a super duper activist. I'm just saying I want to have a tiny little impact. And Risky, honestly, I think you do an excellent job with this with your channel. And you're speaking to us, to all of us, and I genuinely, I think you do a great job. And I think all of us should take a look at them in the mirror and be like, all right, what exactly can I do before that, right? Like, what can I do to just to share that messaging, right? Sorry, I know Kelly R submitted the super chat.
So I did want to get to this, that's why I threw it back up there. So here's the thing. There's a problem with politicians. I frequently talk about my Congress critter Brian Mast. He used to come to all of our Tea Party meetings. I'm a gun guy. Want to go to the range with me? Do you want to shoot with me? I'm like, dude, no, I don't want to shoot with you. If you tell me you're a gun guy, good. Word to God, we're good. Well, he gets into office. He gets a wealthy hoplophobic rhino donor that doesn't like guns. That's what hoplophobic means. And all of a sudden, he's against gas-operated semi-automatics. And he comes up with this whole bullshit story. Well, I'm serious. I was talking to him directly on the phone. Well, I was having a picnic with my family, and I thought if somebody was on the roof of a building with an AR-15, oh no, that's a 50 cal. Don't worry about that. That's bolt action and not semi-automatic or gas operated also. So don't have no worries about the 50 cal. But 5.56, hold on. Do I have? Oh yeah, here's a 5.56 bullet. This needle dick here, you got to worry about. He tells me this.
That needle dick is going 3,200 feet per second. I'm just saying. But yeah, no, you're right. They're focusing on the wrong shit.
Yeah, they're
not that I want them to focus on 50B and G.
And again,
nothing.
Yes,
these people need to stop fucking making rules and enforce the ones that we have, and they need to pull back the shit that doesn't work and all the bureaucracy. I can't speak. All the bureaucracy. Get rid of it. Nobody's willing to do that. Until that happens, it's only going to get worse. Why? How? Right. Because they're not changing anything. They're adding more. It's a landslide of laws and rules that do nothing except make your life suck.
Right.
Oh, well, let me rephrase that. If your life sucks because of that, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. You need to do better. That shouldn't affect your life to the point where it sucks. You need to make your own life. But that is getting to a point where it's going to affect us all.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, so Kelly R, thank you for the super chat. Kelly R says, what do you think about Georgia legislators filing suit against
Fannie whatever?
Fannie
so
yesterday.
That was the prosecutor that brought the charges against Trump, released him early because nobody knew what the jury would come back with, but they had it already written up.
Is that the clerk of court there in Fulton County? Is she the one that released all the docket early?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not hip.
I'm pretty sure she is. I think the government, the local state senator or whoever, made an emergency movement for them to have an emergency session to impeach her.
Yeah. Did they?
I don't know if they did. That's the last I heard of it.
Kelly
Yeah.
They
Arce
should,
is
as they
PA
should. For her
Fulton.
to say it was an accident, it's outrageous.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
never
Benny Willis.
happens in any other direction other than full lefty.
What? What are you telling me? There's no equity in this here? I don't understand. You mean Biden's cabinet isn't leaking ish about him all the time, like
No,
Trump's
but
cabinet
they're
did?
having pipe leaks and bursts underneath the when they're counting now.
Yeah.
Or are
Oh,
they?
you mean a toilet overflowing?
Yeah.
The toilet overflow. They had to clear the building because the toilet. It's like, hey Bob, shove crap in the toilet and flush it. All right. Don't ask
Your
questions.
eyes deceived you. Those were not boxes of ballots under the table. Your eyes were wrong.
You
You
mean
didn't
when
see
they
that.
pulled open the tablecloth and everybody and they pulled
Yeah,
out?
everyone knew about those. Those were not. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I
all
mean,
in the up and up.
Clearly, they had a water damage and needed to bring stuff in via wagons after hours with the blinds closed. And after people there that reported that there was absolutely no water damage at all that occurred, where they kicked out all the pullers. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like that's where I think people that I really don't want to fuel the right and the left thing because of how divisive it is, right? But I mean, there's
Right.
really no other way to explain this. So I'll just say people of opposing thoughts, okay? Because honestly, there's people on the right, including politicians, right? It's the two heads of the same snake kind of thing, and two wings of the same bird, and it's shitting on all of us. But that's why I think we're kind of getting to this point. So,
Can you do this? Yeah.
I think I'm this way, or no, I'm this way. Oh, my screen is mirrored. It's gonna look bad. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
That was embarrassing. I wish we could edit that out. We can't do that.
Hey.
No, it's all live. It's all live.
We'll do it live.
Mitch McConnell.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
That's a Bill O'Reilly reference. I don't know what year that's from, but you really got to know what you're talking about.
That thing's awesome. Okay, so Sportman said, nailed it. So I think what one of the things that's happening is that because of how blatantly they're moving out in the open, not caring what we see, not caring what we find out. I mean, they even look when we were.
Well, they boarded up the windows. Like the inspectors were required to be on the other side of the glass, and then they boarded up the glass. It's
dude,
like,
even just look at the clot shot, right? Like every single thing that we were saying, that people that think like us were saying, right? They're like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, do it for grandma. Oh, you're killing. You're the problem. You're the problem. I could find hundreds of videos of, people in news and media saying that, well, the problem is the unvaccinated, whatever. But what happens? The docs get leaked and they don't even care. They're moving in public in right in front of us. They're doing. I mean, it's baffling, and
the nerve of these people. It's outrageous. That's where I don't have any shame anymore. It's like they're spitting in my face, and I'm not taking it.
Yep,
I'm not taking it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah. So here's
I'm out
the
of
thing.
Topo Chico.
There's
I just finished mine.
Wave to your wife. It's like, no, not that.
I should, yeah.
So the whole thing is there's two things, and you can never tell with a politician what it is. Are they play acting, just like how the Republicans voted 42 times to repeal Obamacare, but when under Trump we had both the House and the Senate and the presidency, they would not repeal Obamacare. So there's the play acting, the virtue signaling, and then there's like, no, really, I'm down for this. And for the most part, they're play acting. I would say 9 out of 10 times.
I don't trust any of them. I think it's safe to say, what if we just voted all of them out, every single one of them, and we started over, and we said this time you can't have any money involved, and everything's paper, and we all get to watch it, and it's an event, and we come into the center of the towns, and we all do it together.
Yep, I mean,
yeah, everyone. There's not one person in government that's good enough for me to warrant not firing every single one of them.
It's
so corrupt. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And then that
I'm
way
with
there's
you.
no interest, and we can say we don't need this whole branch. We don't need them. They're just a waste. Let's
So
start over.
there's two things. I have an invention. I got a patent on this. It's called the lie detecting shock collar, and all politicians would be required to wear them. So when they lied, we would see them. Probably have
I
to
Well,
got it back
the
this time.
reptilians are. It doesn't affect them as much.
Yeah, that's true.
They just have the side wink that goes on. They just kind of shake a
It's
little
like
bit.
they blink sideways. Yeah.
I like this
So
version better. I don't like feeling like I'm inside of a
yeah,
hall. Like I
Yeah,
got
I know.
Yeah.
It's
shimmy
like
around. You're like, do you get the ass or the dick when
like
I
you're
walk
an
by you in
empty
the aisle?
arsenal
vent,
doing
yeah.
a carbine.
I was actually when I was running
Detected spam.
when I was running I did the advanced gunfighter course this past Sunday, and the instructor kind of like pushed me. We were doing this thing where we basically it's not CQB, but it puts an element of CQB in a rifle drill where you're basically stuck between two barriers, right? You go up like damn near like chest to a cardboard barrier, and then they push another cardboard barrier behind you, and you got to go from low ready, high ready, go around, and basically like fire on a target using the splash of your light and shit like that. And the instructor was behind me, and he was kind of acting as the other side of the air vent, right? Die Hard style. And he pushes up against me, and I got a big med pack on the back of my battle belt. So I started like twerking it a little bit. He's like, "Oh, get the fuck out of here!" I was like, "Dude, sorry, I had to. It was funny." And I got that on video, so I'll be sharing that soon
That's a
too.
good one.
Shout out to the Tactical Turkeys; they put together an excellent training. What kind of stuff do you do for training and things like that?
So I actually just got back from JTAC Ranch down in Florida. I got a video premiering tomorrow night. If you're a channel member, you can go ahead and see that already.
Where is that place?
Nice.
It's near Tampa,
Oh, okay.
in the vicinity of Tampa. And they had a little shooting competition. That was my first one. That's what I think I want to do now. So I'm not opposed to going out and going to training classes. I haven't really done a whole lot of those recently, to be, full disclosure. Just I got so much going on. When we go out, I try to go out with and get a lot of like patrolling, hiking more or less out in the woods, just being quiet, trying to get the jump on animals. I'm not even a hunter, right? But just out there, just kind of doing my thing. It's like my PT and meditative. And if I go out shooting, I try to go out with guys that are local. I have a bunch of friends in local like law enforcement and state law enforcement that are as good of a shot as anybody I know. And
Nice.
like we go to their property or we'll bring them out and do all sorts of stuff. But as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as training, I do a lot of dry fire. That's like my bread and butter.
Yeah,
And I think everyone should. So
totally agree. I think dry fire is, I mean, especially everyone's complaining about ammo prices. I will say ammo is actually
Coming
really
down.
priced very fairly right now compared to where we were at during the Kung Flu. But man,
the Kung Flu. That's a good
yeah,
one.
yeah, the old karate cold. But I mean, I think that I think that it is a premier time to buy ammo and obviously stack up ammo too. But while you're not doing live fire exercises, dry fire exercises are incredible. And one of the things that I started using a few years back, probably 4 or 5 years ago, was the laser cartridges. So every time the striker hits, the laser indicates where the bullet would have impacted, and that's been a huge dry fire helper. I would encourage anyone to jump on that.
I've seen some guys. Is it called Mantis or something? It's
Yeah.
like a red
Yep.
system. I want to
Yeah, I
try
got
that out. Yeah, that
Yeah,
looks
I
pretty
got that.
interesting.
Actually, for the bottom of my SIG P365, I 3D printed a mount for the bottom of the mag because there wasn't a good pick rail on it, so I could use it on the bottom there.
Yeah. Yeah, things gangster. You could even, I mean, in theory, one of the things that I did, but I kind of found that it wasn't super effective, was you could buy one of those cheap, Chinesium 9mm or whatever caliber you run. I'm sure there may be some people that run 40 cal for some reason, but or like a 45, whatever caliber it is. You can even get one for your rifle as well, and you can download there's a bunch of different apps that basically you could take a target, draw it with a Sharpie, or put up an actual silhouette target, and then you put your phone on a stand and use the app showcasing the the silhouette of the target. And every time wherever the laser impacts, it makes a little gunshot and it shows the bullet hole where it would have struck. It's cool,
Yeah,
man.
I got that also.
Yeah, it's basically like you pay $30 for the little laser cartridge, and the app is free. Well, aside from taking all your data and giving it to China, and then it's a great dry fire exercise.
Yeah, worth it. Totally worth it. Let him have all my data. Just take it.
100%.
You want
Hey, at least
more?
they'll know what my splits are.
Yeah.
Like, don't go to get this guy's house first. Yeah, no, I think that's super important. I agree. Dry fire is huge.
What do you do for training?
Yes, me or Rich? Or...
You, DLD After Dark.
Thank you. So I got a place pretty close to me that does a lot of training. They actually do 3 to 4 events a week. So I go there pretty frequently. But I started kind of branching out a little bit. I went to a few courses recently. I did a basic carbine course, which I find it helpful to do basic carbine courses and basic pistol courses with different instructors to kind of pick and choose what I find is kind of more effective. And then aside, because and you'll kind of get the correlation on this. There really is no true like advanced super high speed. It is just mastering the basics at the highest level possible. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So recently I had done a course through MD Arsenal with tactical turkeys, and then I did a basic pistol, basic carbine, just kind of getting the juices flowing. Then this past weekend I did intermediate pistol and advanced gunfighter, and it was cool. But aside from that, I don't get to train as much as I'd like to, but I also don't want to blow through like all of my ammo. Dark planned when things hit the fan to raid McDonald's. Their ice cream machine is going to be broken. So go ahead.
You ready for a squirrel moment? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I just remembered 2 other things about that damn fire.
What's that?
In Maui. There was a guy, an official, an Obama Foundation guy, who wouldn't release the water in time.
Yes.
Yep.
And they didn't turn on the sirens, the alarm sirens. Because we wouldn't do that. And I'm like, still, just maybe they wouldn't normally do that. Maybe they should.
Also, they released the kids early to go home, and the kids went home and nobody was there for them. So very likely,
I've heard this child sacrifice thing's real. I don't know. Maybe they do it. Oh. I've been watching Sound of Freedom. Ooh, I'm ready.
I went to like the premiere of that. My wife gets all of these. She's in all these groups and gets all these like advanced premiere tickets and stuff. And it's funny. My father-in-law, who I love, but is a effing sock puppet for CNN. At first, he was like trashing Sound of Freedom, and then he went to see. He's like, "Oh yeah, that was good." And then my wife tries to engage him in conversation. He's like, "Oh, there's child slavery everywhere." It's like, so you don't think we should close the border or tighten up on the border, prevent that from happening?
Dude, that's a touchy subject, man. Dude, when it comes to kids, dude.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, look, I'm first generation or half first generation, however you want to say it. My dad probably goes back to the Mayflower, but my mom was fresh off the boat from Germany, and she came here legally, did everything legally, and was damn proud to be an American. And that's how it should be. And anything you steal, you're not proud of. So when you steal American citizenship, you're not proud of it. And that's the freaking truth. And that's point one. Point two is there's people like John Crump talks about. He's got a cousin or so in Italy with like an MBA and can't come to the United States, and they're cleaning houses in Italy. It's just freaking nuts though.
Tell them they should come here illegally, and then they can become DC police, because I hear you can do that.
Yeah, 100%.
I can't carry a gun there, but you can arrest me for
as
trying to exercise my freedom of speech.
So
Good trade.
The other problem with, all right, so there's multiple problems coming here illegally. So you come here with zero documentation. You could have been, kingpin of the Sinaloa drug cartel, and now you're a DC cop.
Yeah.
Who knows? Why would you know?
Why would you not?
And
You're telling me we
terrifying.
can just apply to it? Okay, go do it.
The other problem is the drug cartels south of the border are making all of this money for trafficking these people across the U.S. border. So by allowing these people to cross the border, we're enriching the drug cartels. Maybe something you don't want to do. The other problem with that is the females, no matter how old they are, get raped. There's what's called rape trees, where they throw their underwear in after they rape them.
Yeah.
Women.
There's a war being waged with those cartels south of the border, and they have a little bit of different rules that they play with, from what I'm told. I'm not an expert here, right? But from what I'm told, that they play with here in the United States, because it doesn't behoove them to murder as many people as they do down there. But as soon as that changes, I mean, they have videos of themselves driving around the United States with 50 cals in the vehicle, and I think they had RPGs as well, driving by highway patrolmen pulling people over in the United States, or border patrol
in Arizona, in Texas.
If you have cartel members here, why wouldn't they, playing devil's advocate, why would they not send their people, even if it's just a few people, to try to become cops in DC? Why wouldn't they try to send them to go have jobs that they normally wouldn't be able to, that infiltrate further the government?
Yeah.
It's not only everything is being weakened and diminished for a reason. It's not because it's better. It's clearly not. But they're lying about it, and they're pushing this down our throats. Why?
Yeah, it's an op. I mean, think. Okay, so take a step back and think, like, if you were planning something similar to what they're planning, you would have little cells all over the place in the highest levels possible to the lowest levels possible. That way when shit pops off, it's like, okay, activated, boom. At least that's the way I would think about it. If I were them, I would absolutely do that. But I mean, there are still good people out there, right? We just, the people that think like us are usually not as loud, right? But we're basically the get off my lawn guys.
Right.
The moment you're on my lawn, it's, you know what I mean, right? It's on, right? Not necessarily like actually, but figuratively. But these are also the same people that are like, oh, bump stocks. I don't care about bump stocks. I just need my 1022 and my, Remington 700 and I'm good, But they don't realize how much that impacts them. And it was interesting to EDU.
That's an ignorance thing. That's a them problem for not seeing that, and us telling them the whole time. This isn't 1999. Like, we've had a voice for a while, and we're telling you, if you keep letting them do this, it will get worse. If you keep pushing this down kids' throats, the next thing is they're going to castrate the kids. They're not coming for the kids, but they're openly saying it, and they're doing this. They're not coming for your guns, but they're openly coming for your guns. Like,
And I think more people are starting to see it. And I even had a conversation with a couple family members that just had not really been open to the idea, you know what I mean, of kind of realizing what's actually going on. And I just started asking them questions, and the stuff they were saying was not making sense to them. And they were like, oh my God, you're right. I didn't realize. And I was like, yes, I converted, a couple people.
Once you take the red pill, you cannot go back and then take the blue pill. It doesn't work that way.
Never, ever. It's impossible. But I'm hoping that enough people wake up, and more people than ever are starting to wake up. The problem is that the amount of people in the general public that are just open to, they're just getting sucked in every single day to the little snippets and the little sound bites and they're just getting, like, literally plugging up to the machine and then getting downloaded with this information. Then they're running to work and they're talking about what's popular, and it makes them sound smart and hip and up to speed. And then they're running around on Instagram and tapping their little shit, like tap 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 tap. Oh, I'm so cool. Tap tap. I'm hip. Tap tap. Oh, babies should be able to cut off their dicks. Like tap tap. Like, no, we have to be just as loud as them. And I think that's been a huge what do you call it? Whatchamacallit enforced. Like, it's
counterbalance.
Pendulum.
Yeah, well, but
The
both of you
pendulum
guys
swinging.
are right. Whatever, words are hard. We don't have the same level of force when it comes to the communication that they do, right? And when they craft a message, I'm talking like they freaking CNC machine a message on a 5-axis fucking CNC machine to the point where it's gorgeous, hot off the press, and it's beautiful. And then every single news network is with the same message, same languaging, same verbiage, same wording, using, different types of communication skills that actually speak to your subconscious mind, right? They're all of a sudden like, boom, everyone's getting the same message, right? It's terrifying when you hear 20 different networks, 50 different, just people all over the place that are using the same exact words. How? If they're not calculated, how?
I got two things for that. One is I'm back to the squirrels. Remember, and I'm not saying it's related, I'm just pointing out that it's a coincidence. There was a Chinese satellite that LiDAR'd with green laser all across Hawaii months before the fires broke out. I'm not saying it's related, I'm just pointing it out.
Facts.
Just pointing it out.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I'm not, here's a conspiracy for you. And I think this totally is involved in this. Them adding and many forms of it, one of it being the pokies that they give you, high concentrations of metals.
Yeah.
And when I look at, that's a coincidence, right? Like I see this and they're saying it's not, or it's misspeak and all this. I'm like, okay, but I just read this thing and it looks like you're lying to me again.
Yeah.
And then I see, oh, well, what does that implicate? The more I get down this crazy road of investigating things, the more open I am to like really interesting stuff, like vibrations being more important than we previously thought. And like think of like Nikola Tesla and why that might have been suppressed as opposed to what we have now. Right. So leading down that, it's like, we got 5G now. And they've turned that on recently, and they had to shut down airports because it was so powerful in places.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that, but we reported on or shared those reports on the Risky report. So it's like, oh, so what are they doing? Are they having something to do with your grounding as far as like electromagnetism to the earth, and adding frequencies in there in this sound and like in a way, and like not pH, your pH balance, but similar to that in the realm of like heavy metals and that sort of thing. What are they doing? They're doing something because this isn't normal. And when you look at like the Amish people and their levels of autism, and then these other uncontacted tribes, and then us, it's like, what? This is interesting, huh? Like, and I'm not making a claim. I'm just pointing out observations, right? Like, what's all this about? And it's almost like, well, we haven't had the same technology that we have now to share and look into this, and we didn't have a reason to wake up like we have now. Yeah. And it's not been easy to work from home and have access to computers 24/7. And it's like, oh, well, it's like a fourth turning, as somebody smarter than me once said, right?
So Thomas Paine clicked here, and I agree. Those are very interesting observations. Risky Chrisky is 100% correct. They used DEW. For you guys that don't know what that means, that is direct energy weapon on Hawaii, just as they did Paradise and Cali and other places. They're at war on us all. We live in a war zone in the States now openly. So I will say that we did have somebody that was on my show recently that had said 100% they worked on, well, they were familiar with what had occurred in California, and a trusted person said that California was actual like power lines. However, Maui, the fires in Canada, and even something recent in Houston too are super suspect.
So just to clarify that person's comment, I'm not saying, I did say once jokingly, but I'm not saying that I think it was a direct energy weapon in Hawaii. It could have been. I don't know. I'm not there. I haven't seen enough stuff.
Who knows what it is.
One of a couple reasons that I think direct energy weapons have been used in the past is because of the level of heat that these things are reaching. There's an outside influence other than what normally is being burned. And people are like, it's wind. It's like, I understand that. This is my first time thinking about this, right? So when I look at that, I'm like, And I haven't seen pictures from Hawaii, and they're not letting people in to look around, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. So who's to
Mhm.
who's to know? But when it's burning through concrete and not
Steel.
just burning aluminum, but it's melting this stuff down into the earth, melting glass to the point where it's like there's nothing there anymore. It doesn't make any sense. It's too hot. And I've seen a few pictures from Arizona wildfires. I think it was Arizona back in the day when like shortly after the hot shots, those 19 guys got killed.
Mhm.
But the most glaring incident besides those pictures of the concrete getting burned through, which I couldn't explain, the amount of those fires that started simultaneously in Canada. When you have
Yeah.
the zoom out on the radar, the satellite imagery, and they
Mhm.
all start over hundreds and hundreds of square miles at the split same time. And I know
Yeah.
people are like, well, it's spiders down. It's like, that's a lot of them at the same exact time to all spark up literally at the exact same time. I don't believe it.
Well, and
I
you
don't
have
believe it.
a little bit of experience yourself working with fire.
And I'm not, so that's another thing. And I want to be perfectly clear and I want people to understand. I do have experience as a firefighter professionally, and I've fought wildfires. I've done that as well. Professionally, I
Mhm.
was sent, in a FEMA deployment for a wildfire. I've done that as well. I'm not saying I'm the end all expert, but there's things that don't add up. It's like when I
Yeah.
look at 9/11, right? And people are like, how can you say, if I don't have a reason to be the guy who believes 9/11, who else? I was in the army. I fought in Iraq, or I didn't. I really didn't fight. My deployment was stupid. I went to Iraq in the military because of 9/11. I came back and became a firefighter. I have vested interest in that being true. So it was a heartbreaking moment when it hit me that I don't believe that narrative anymore. Like
Mm.
explain building 7.
Yeah.
That's just like one of those things. There's only been 3, and I know I'm off on a tangent and I'll stop because I actually got to bounce. There's only been 3 high rises that have ever fallen due to fire in the history of the world anywhere. The World Trade Centers were 2 of them, and they were hit by an airplane or whatever. The
Mhm.
third's building 7, and it wasn't hit by anything. How is that possible?
I heard that some could be explained via dancing Israelis, but we can come back to that on another day.
And with
Um,
that, I gotta go. You're right. You're right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Risky. First off, everybody, make sure that you subscribe to Risky Chrisky. If you are not familiar with his channel, you are missing out on incredible daily reports every single day. I mean, seriously, make sure you do subscribe. And also, are you on Instagram anymore, or did they kick you off Instagram?
Yeah, I've got a whole line of backup accounts ready to go. My current one is who is Risky Chrisky, and the spaces are underscores.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And I really, really would love to get you back on DLD After Dark one day soon. So
For
let me
sure.
know. Hit me up.
Thanks for having me. Rich, take care.
All right, man. Later.
Peace.
Boom.
What a great guy. What a great
What a fun
guy.
show. Fun
Yeah.
freaking show.
Yeah. Oh man, so much stuff. I mean, I know we only got a few minutes here, but what are your thoughts on all that?
There's a lot to consider. It's one of these things. I always, maybe I don't directly relate to it, but I don't have to know all sorts of facts to know when something doesn't add up. And I'll say if for 50 years a particular county has always determined who the president is, or these 3 states have always determined who a president is, like if they win that county or they win these states, that will be the president. And when all sorts of crap goes sideways and those states went for the guy that didn't win, that's an interesting data point. I don't need to know about every ballot, every vote, every signature to say,
Hmm.
hey, that stuff's messed up. There's something wrong there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times when you see a lot of things like this going on, you'll hear people start to make claims and tie things together, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong. Yet, I think
I think it's a
just
major indicator. There what
yeah,
they say
yeah,
is, there's is a correlation or causation. And
yeah,
and it's like, hey, look, if a person gets up at 8 a.m. every day, and one day they get up at 5 a.m. and something, criminal happens related to them, they're like, not me, not it. There
yeah.
could be
Patterns
some
are different.
correlation there.
So, a couple things that I just want to add, and again, this isn't this isn't making a claim, right? This is just like Risky was saying, we're stating observations. Though I haven't been able to confirm any of this, what some people have been reporting is that there was a huge attempt at several land grabs in Maui, and that they were attempting to uh, do through eminent domain. They were attempting to pull a lot of the land in that area, and they weren't able to. They were coming up with a lot of issues. People were taking them to court, and all
Wow.
sorts of things, right? Then, when the fires occurred, the houses that were burnt down, the houses that were damaged, people were calling to make claims onto their insurance, and apparently insurance, like almost every single company in the area, was saying that I'm sorry, we found that there were zoning infractions. So because there are variances that weren't approved, or approved, which variances don't technically have to be approved. It depends on the circumstances. But anyway, based on variances that weren't, whatever, approved by, whatever bullshit, insurance was not covering the replacement cost to rebuild homes.
Whoa.
So, and during all this, offers were coming in to purchase land.
Hmm.
Interesting how things were. Well,
I
it's
mean,
been reported. That's all I'm saying.
the ground isn't even cold there yet, and craps stuff is
Yeah.
hitting the fan. That's crazy.
Sport brand. If it turns out to be aliens, I wouldn't even be shocked anymore. Well, that's the thing. It's interesting that they spend 100 years trying to remove information of any type of life outside of our planet, right? They want to hide every single thing that they can. Then the moment that all this other shit is going on and everything is melting in the world, they're like, UFOs, look at this, UFOs, here's all these documents, here's all these, information dumps. It's like, okay,
We got bodies. We got bodies.
why?
We got spacecraft.
Why are you pushing this down our throats now? It's clearly a red herring, right? You don't want us to see something. So I'm not going to look at what you're showing me, right? I haven't really looked into the UFO shit because that's what they want us to look at. So I'm going to look into everything else, Um
Stark,
Ishnifis, great to see you, by the way. Ishnifis, man, I miss you being in the streams. Hope you're well. Let me
Stark,
see.
you do a show, what, 3 days a week?
I do a show every Tuesday, Thursday. Used to be every Saturday as well at 10 p.m. However, I've had to switch to every other Saturday,
Except for last Saturday.
unfortunately, except for this past one because of the training event. And there was no way that I could have gotten all the guys there to go do a stream at 10 p.m. Unfortunately, One Car Fast, Johnny Barr, Ishnifis, Rip Crow Readiness, Sport Brand, Nate D, Z, Dangle Matt, who else? Polar Knights, man. I haven't seen you in a long time too. All testing 1 2 3. Thomas Payne, Eagle Run 23. Great to see all you guys, man. You guys are awesome.
So who's on tonight?
Tonight I have a remarkable firearm developer coming on, and somebody that has developed several AR style firearms that will be coming on and showcasing their work this evening. I don't want to give it away who it is though, because
okay, we're not going to say. Somebody I like a lot.
BV, you too, and Rusty Shackelford, all you guys.
And I've actually got to meet in person.
Yeah, me too.
And-
I hugged him when I first saw him.
Oh well, he hugs everyone.
Well, he hugged me because he didn't have much of a choice at that point. I'll tell you what. Another thing, I don't think I have it handy. Another thing I'm going to do a video on really, really soon, probably within the next day or two, is there are not a lot of helpful instructional videos on mounting your Peltors on your helmet. Like if you have a ballistic helmet or a bump or Team Wendy or Ops Core or whatever helmet.
Crazy glue?
Yeah, not crazy glue.
JB
Yeah,
Weld?
don't use crazy glue or JV Weld. But there's the most economic way to set up comms and put them on your helmet, and I'm kind of putting that together now to where for under $200 you can have Peltors mounted on your helmet with comms. with comm capabilities. I mean, you're talking like that's $1,100 to put Peltor Comtax on. So to be able to do that for like sub $200, that's incredible. So I'm working on that. Kurt24, your name, PV Luminous, you guys too. Y'all rock, man. You guys are awesome. Great show. Thank you, Rich, Dark, Risky, and Wolverines. Whether you are, see you all tonight on DLD After Dark. Thank you, man. Yeah, Rusty, Kurt's the man too, man. All you guys. Yeah, so I have a special guest coming on tonight. And paracord, that actually would be a great idea. But this is actually tensioned perfectly to where you can have a bit more adjusting, but not have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars just on the connectors. Like there are those ops core connectors. If you've ever seen like the pictures of Grand Thumb with the ear pro out to here, right? Those are dope. Those are great, but a lot of guys don't like the way they fit and the way they adjust. So there's some other options that are a little bit more economical. And I'm talking like the mount that goes on your helmet. It's a QD mount to mount your Peltors on. The Peltors themselves and a mic to be able to hook comms up and have a push to talk on that you can, hook in your Baofeng or like whatever, any kind of mic for like right under $200, which is nuts. So I have a new ballistic helmet that needs Ear Pro. There you go. There's we'll talk about it. I'll be doing a video on that too. Part of me wants to do it as a stream, right? Because you guys are used to seeing me like this. But I don't know. I may do it as a hard video. Rights are not a tradition. Says I watched them haul in scores of duffel bags stuffed to the brim at the Detroit polls about 3 a.m. in 2020. Wow, I believe it. There's nothing that will surprise me on that regard.
Ready, Doc? Tell people how they can find you.
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is DLD After Dark. Check me out. I'm not only on YouTube, I'm also on Instagram, DLD After Dark, and the spaces are underscores on Instagram. And I'm also on Twitter and everything, basically everything but TikTok. Eagle Run 23, you're the man. Dark makes non-live videos. Didn't know. Yes, I do. Check out my shorts too, man. That sounds weird. Check out my short videos on YouTube. So DLD After Dark on YouTube. You may also be able to catch me in person, even though I was at this event in Maryland at MD Arsenal. Shout out to them. They're awesome. With Tactical Turkeys recently. I will be at another event somewhere down south in October with a bunch of eights. And would love for you guys.
We're not allowed to talk about that.
We're not allowed to talk about that. That's why I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it.
So you can find me at flyingrich.com. All of my social media is there. And go to crumpy.com and enter the contest. So you can win something cool.
Something really cool.
Something very cool. You'll have to go to crumpy.com.
Something with
contest
capacity. Something with reciprocation. Something that some people may call a direct energy weapon.
Or a cordless hole punch.
Yeah, cordless hole punch. Yeah, that works. Yep.
All right, guys. With that, we're clicking the end button.
Thanks so much.